What's up, people? Welcome to the session. How are you all doing? My name is Anup, and this is Vedantu 9th and 10th English channel. I hope that all of you guys and your loved ones are doing good. Please stay safe, guys. I know that I've been repeating this several times over the past couple of sessions, but I'm not going to stop it until the whole second wave is done. So, for another couple of months, this is going to be the case. So, guys, please stay safe, stay home, and whatever it is, no matter how bored you are, stay home. All right. So welcome to the session. Welcome to the Prodigy session number 2 of ICSE 10th Force. So today we'll be talking about equilibrium and principle of moments, also known as POM. P-O-M. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about the formulas related to that, and we'll understand everything that is needed in order to understand the topic. So do not go away from your screen for the next couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Let's get started without wasting any time. Now, as always, the code for today is this: be stronger than your excuses. There are a billion different things that you could be doing right now. There are a billion different excuses you could be giving yourself right now to do anything else but studying. But whatever the excuse is, your willpower must always be stronger than that. Because if it is not, then your playtime or your leisure time will take over what is rightfully the time for you to study. All right. I know that it's hard right now to resist yourself from playing all these kind of games and stuff, because that's what most people do. That's a lot of parents are complaining that right now. So please make your will a little bit more stronger than the excuse that I'll play for 5 minutes and then I'll study. All right. Anyways, with that said, people, let's get started. So in the last session, talk and couple, if you haven't watched that already, make sure that you watch the video of that. So we had talked about what is talk, what is couple. I'd given you the formula based on it, and I told you what is clockwise, what is anti-clockwise direction. All of that we've talked about it in the last session. So I also asked you a homework question. As always, we have homeworks as well. Yeah. So this is the question, people. A steering wheel of diameter 0.5 meter is rotated anti-clockwise by applying two forces, each of magnitude 5 Newton. Calculate the moment of force applied. So in other words, they're asking, so imagine this is a steering wheel. You are applying a force in anti-clockwise direction. This is my direction of force, each of 5 Newton. And the diameter of the steering wheel is said to be what? 0.5 meters. So what is the moment of force, guys? Quite simple. Now, if you remember, the moment of force formula is what? Moment of force is equal to the force, the magnitude of force, or either of the magnitude of the two forces into the perpendicular distance between them. So what is the formula then? So perpendicular distance between the two forces, right? So what is the force? Force is 5 Newton. Either of the two forces, either you take this force or you take this force into the perpendicular distance between the two forces. So what is the perpendicular distance between them? That's nothing but the diameter. So 5 into 0.5, which gives you 2.5 Newton meter. That's it. Simple as that. All right. So yeah, guys, that is the answer for this question. Quite an easy one as well. With that said, let's understand another easy concept, which is equilibrium and principle of moments. Without wasting any time, let's get started. So what is equilibrium of bodies and what is principle of moments? For example, guys, imagine a box kept on a table. All right. You're applying a force from one side and your friend is applying a force on the other side. Let's say that both of you guys are lean and both of you guys are applying a force of 10 Newton each. What would happen? The box would not move. In other words, it will remain in the state of rest. Or the resultant force acting on it is zero. Why? Because they are acting in the opposite direction. What happens? The force gets subtracted and hence the resultant force becomes zero. So equilibrium is nothing but when there are several number of forces acting on a body and the body does not change its state of rest or motion, that is when the body is said to be in equilibrium. Let me repeat that statement again. When a number of forces are acting, when more than one or more forces are acting on a body and it produces no change in the state of rest or of motion, that is when the body is said to be in equilibrium. So here's the thing, guys. That means that there are two types of equilibrium, because either in the state of rest or in the state of motion, the body should remain without any change in the state of motion. So yes guys, that is. So there are two types of equilibrium. One is called as static equilibrium and the other is called as dynamic equilibrium. Static equilibrium, as the name itself suggests, it is when a number of forces are acting on the body, or more than one type of force are acting on the body, and the body continues to remain in the state of rest. If it remains in the state of rest, that is static equilibrium. Like for example, me trying to pull a donkey. Yeah, the donkey is obviously gonna resist it, and so what happens? The donkey remains in the state of rest. That is what is called a static equilibrium. When a body remains in the state of rest under the influence of several forces, that is static equilibrium. Dynamic, guys, for example, an airplane has several forces acting on it. It has drag force acting on it, it has lift force acting on it, it has weight which is acting in the downward direction, it also has your thrust acting in the opposite direction. So here's the thing guys, you have probably heard about something called autopilot, right, where the airplane drives itself, like how you have Tesla autopilot and all that, and you had autopilot, like that was where it all started. So that is where the pilot goes and takes a chill out and then he comes back. Now anyways, here's the thing guys, you know why the airplane is able to maintain that level? It is because of dynamic equilibrium. See guys, the airplane has some weight and that is acting in the downward direction. The airplane is also producing some lift because the engines and stuff, the engines and the aerodynamic structure produces some lift, which is acting in the opposite direction. So when the lift becomes equal to the weight of the body, or when the lift is able to manage or balance the weight of the airplane, in that case, the airplane will maintain that level itself. It will not go down, neither will it go up. It will maintain a constant height. I'll repeat it again guys. So the weight of the airplane is moving down, it's acting downwards. The lift is acting upwards because of the aerodynamic structure and the engines, they're producing the lift which is moving upwards. So when the lift is able to balance the weight of the airplane will move with a constant height. That, my friends, is what is called as dynamic equilibrium. Again, the statement is when there are several number of forces acting on a body, or when the body remains in the state of motion under the influence of several forces, that is what is called as dynamic equilibrium. Voila, done people, that's it. Now guys, if there is something called as dynamic and static equilibrium, what does that got to do with studying about torque or couple like what we studied in the last session? Let's talk about that. But before I get into that guys, I have to tell you one more thing. The conditions for equilibrium are two. You need these two things to be attained in order for a body to be in equilibrium. One is that the net force or the resultant of all force must be zero. The resultant, the net force acting on the body must and should be zero. And secondly guys, the algebraic sum of moments acting on it. Again, what is the moment? That is nothing but the torque. The torque acting on it, the algebraic sum of the torque acting on it about the point of rotation or about the axis, the fixed axis, that must also be zero. In other words, people, the clockwise direction motion, the clockwise moment should be equal to anti-clockwise moment. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, I'm sure that all of you guys as kids would have played seesaw, right? Now in a seesaw, if both of you guys weigh the same, the seesaw would neither go up nor would it go down. On the other hand, if one person weighs or one person puts in a lot more effort, what happens? That person goes down and the other person goes up. So one person is trying to push it downwards, the other person is trying to push it upwards. So what's happening? The force, one person is applying the force in this direction, one person is applying the force in this direction. In other words, remember couple? So it is fixed about this axis. So here's the thing guys. In the case of principle of moments, when the anti-clockwise moment becomes equal to clockwise moment, that, my friends, is what is the statement for principle of moments said to be in equilibrium. Once again people, when the sum of anti-clockwise moment is equal to the sum of clockwise moment, that is when we say that the principle of moment is said to be in equilibrium. So what is the formula? You know the formula guys. force into perpendicular distance. So W1 into R1, which is nothing but the distance from the center to the left hand side, or whichever causes the anti-clockwise moment. In this case, this is the anti-clockwise moment, and in this case, this would be the clockwise moment. So when the anti-clockwise moment is equal to see, here, look at this one. In this case, in the case that I showed you, what happened? One person was going up and the other person was coming down. Here what's happening is that both of them, the seesaw is basically steady because both of them are applying the same amount of force, and the distance from the center that they're sitting is also the same, and because of that case, say that the seesaw is balanced. So once again, people, the anti-clockwise moment is what? Here it is nothing but W1 into R1, which is nothing but the distance from the body to the center, to the pivot, or to the point of rotation, to the axis of rotation, and W2 into R2 is nothing but the distance from the body to the axis of rotation. That's all, guys. That's all. Simple as that. And that, my friends, is the end of the topic for today. Easy, right? That's it. That's it, people. Second session of course is done. And if you want to learn all of the topics in such amazing manner, you can also enroll into the Vedanta courses, which will not only give you whatever you're studying over here, but a lot more on the Vedanta platform. The link is given in the description. You can check out the link. I'll show you the link as well. I'll show you what are the advantages of it. First of all, guys, here's the thing. You have unlimited number of session in every single package that you take. So if you go for the 1-month pack also, it's the same. If you go for the year-long program also, it is going to be the same. Unlimited number of sessions, high-level quizzes, which will help you to not only challenge yourself, but also gives you an opportunity to compete with your friends and understand what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths. Now with this, people, all of the sessions are recorded, and the recordings are also such a way that you can actually take the quizzes while watching the replay and check out the leaderboard. Isn't that cool? And with that, people, you can also download all the premium content, because we know that notes are important. We know that you depend on those notes very much. So yes, all of the notes are downloadable within 24 hours. All of that would be available. You can download the PDF and refer to it as many number of times as you want. And with all of these, people, you also get a unique opportunity where you have your doubts being cleared by a set of separate teachers. We have master teachers in every session. With the master teacher, obviously the master teacher would be teaching you. With that, we also have the class teacher to ensure that every single doubt of yours is answered right there and then. No questions asked. All the doubts would be cleared right in there. There's no limit as to, okay, you can ask only so many doubts. No, nothing like that. Unlimited doubt solving, and yes, tests and assignments also to make yourselves better. And yes, guys, you can also take up the Vedanta improvement promise. A lot more. The link is given in the description. So yeah, guys, let's do some quiz questions now and try to figure out. I am sorry about some technical issue was there. Because of that, I had to cut the video a little. Sorry about that. Let's get into the quiz questions right away, people, without wasting any time. So this is the first question. In equilibrium, algebraic sum of moments of all forces about the point of rotation is what? 0, infinite, can't say, or none of the above. In equilibrium, the algebraic sum of moments of all forces at that point of rotation should be 0. It should be 0, guys. Only then we can say that it's in equilibrium, right? So that is the answer for the first question. Second question is this: the moon revolving around the earth is in dash equilibrium. Is it static, dynamic? Both static and dynamic, or none of the above? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's dynamic. I know that you saw the answer. Peekaboo, people. But still, it's dynamic, guys. The reason is because the moon is revolving and rotating around the Earth's surface. It's rotating as well as revolving. So because of dynamic equilibrium, that is why it is staying in its orbit. Otherwise, the moon would have it would have been thrown out of its orbit if it wasn't for that, right? That's why it is revolving around the Earth. Next question is this, guys. The third question. In the diagram in figure shows two forces, F1, which is equal to 5 Newton, and F2 is equal to 3 Newton, acting at points A and B of rod pivoted at point 0 or O, such that OA is 2 meters and OB is 4 meters. Calculate the moment of force about O by force F2. So simple, guys. Such an easy question. Huh? The force F2, what you have to find? You're supposed to find out what is the moment of force applied by the force about this point O. So what is the formula? Again, moment of force is what? Moment of force. It's a direct question. Huh? Moment of force is equal to what? Force into the perpendicular distance D. Force is 3 Newton. Distance is 4 meters, sorry. 4 3s are 12. So 12 Newton meter. But in what direction? In clockwise direction. That's all. In clockwise direction. Simple as that. That's all, guys. That is the answer for this question. 10 Newton, 12 Newton meter in clockwise. Alright, guys. Moving on to the fourth question. Here it is. Take a look at this. This is the fourth question, guys. On a seesaw, two children of masses 30 kg and 50 kg are sitting on one side of it at distance 2 meter and 2.5 meter respectively from its middle. Where should a man of mass 75 kg sit to balance it? Options: 2.5 on the other side, 2.5 on the same side, 3.5 on the other side, or 3.5 on the same side. So how do you solve this question? It's actually quite an easy one, guys. So you have imagine this is the seesaw. So one kid is of 30 kgs, the other kid is of 50 kgs. The distance from, okay, let's take this as 50, let's take this as 30. All right, so this is 2.5 meter, this is 2 meter. You have to find out where should the man of 74 kg sit, on this side or this side, in order to balance the seesaw. All right, that is the question. So again, guys, principle of moment at equilibrium. What is the formula? If you guys remember, it is nothing but sum of clockwise moment should be equal to anti-clockwise moment. That is what it says, right? Sum of clockwise is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moment, all right? Anti-clockwise moment. Yeah. Doctor's handwriting. So what is the sum of clockwise moment over here? So we'll take it as anti-clockwise first. We'll add either of the ways, right? So I'll take it as anti-clockwise first. So that's how much? 50 into 2.5. The force into the perpendicular distance plus 30 into 2, which is equal to 74 into x, because obviously the person has to sit on the other side in order to balance it. That is one thing that we know for using a common sense, right? So how much is 50 into 2.5? That's 125 plus 60, which is equal to 74x. So what is this? X is equal to 185 divided by 74. 185, because 125 plus 60, 185 divided by 74, which is nothing but 2.5 meters on the other side. That's all, guys. That is the answer. And this, my friends, is your homework for today. Let me know what is the answer in the comment section. The question is this: a uniform meter rule or is pivoted at its midpoint. A weight of 50 gf gram force is suspended at one end of it. Where should a weight of 100 gf gram force be suspended to keep the ruler neutral? So again, it is pivoted at the middle. The weight is 50 GF suspended at one end. Where should you place the other 100 GF weight in order to keep the ruler at equilibrium or horizontal? Alright, simple question. Let me know what is the answer in the comment section. Thanks a lot for joining today's session, guys. Do not forget to visit the link. Take up the Vedantu, his improvement promise, and if you feel like there's no difference, you know what to do, right? So yeah, guys, thanks a lot for joining today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until the next time we meet, this is Anup signing off for the day. Have a great evening ahead. Take care. Bye bye. See you all, guys. Take care.